Hello! We are here for another story time. What do I call it? I don't remember. Telling tales, I think. But we're here to read April Fools in Love, a novella written by me and Amanda Marie. And we're going to start with chapter 7. So if you haven't gotten caught up, go back, look in the description, click the link, and you'll be able to catch up on all the other 6 chapters that have come before this. And then you'll know where we are and get to enjoy it and more seamless. And, keep coming back, ring the bell and subscribe because, we got 13 chapters for this, so it's going to be coming one each week. So, Chapter 7. Sunday, February 23rd. Zeke adjusted his tie as he walked up to the church. He froze halfway between the first and second step. He stared up at the girl wearing a startling shade of pink, gazing down at him. With a gulp, he slowly climbed the last 3 steps to her. Star? Zeke, we need to talk. Her tone was firm. He nodded. Okay, what's up? Esther, Ezekiel, you two come in now or you'll miss the worship. The 90-year-old usher offered a warm grin. Zeke gave Star an apologetic smile as he led her inside. He walked toward his usual spot on the 3rd row, then, when a hand grabbed his elbow and nearly pulled him off his feet. Let's sit here, in the back. Esther tugged him into the seat. It's important that... Please turn to hymn 374, What a Friend We Have in Jesus. The deacon on the stage gestured for others to grab their hymnals. Zeke glanced at Star, who looked like she might pass out if she was interrupted again, but he just smiled and pulled out the book, turned to the page, and held it so she could read and sing along. After the usual 4 songs, the deacon told everyone to greet one another. Esther grasped his arm. I need to speak with you about yesterday. He frowned. So that's what this is about? She's upset that we didn't have a date? He took her hand. How about we go to Hank's once service is over? Her eyes darted to him, the pastor who was moving to the pulpit, the door, the pews in front of them, then back to him again. All right, Hank's. We'll talk there. She adjusted in her seat to face Pastor Trent. Please turn with me to Proverbs chapter 12, verses 15 through 23. He opened the Bible and read loudly. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but he who heeds counsel is wise. A fool's wrath is known at once, but a prudent man covers shame. He who speaks truth declares righteousness, but a false witness deceit. There is one who speaks like the piercing of a sword, but the tongue of the wise promote health. The truthful lips shall be established forever, but a lying tongue is but for a moment. Deceit is in the heart of those who devise evil, but counselors of peace have joy. No grave trouble will overtake the righteous, but the wicked shall be filled with evil. Lying lips are an abomination to the Lord, but those who deal truthfully are his delight. A prudent man conceals knowledge, but the heart of fools proclaims foolishness. Here there is obvious correlation between lying and being a fool. Turn over with me a few more pages to Proverbs chapter 27, starting with verse 3. A stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both of them. Wrath is cruel and anger a torrent, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithfully are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. The pastor set the Bible on the podium. Proverbs mentions the word fool countless times, warning us not to be fools and not to act as a fool, but there is something even worse than a fool. Proverbs 26:12 says it clearly. But allow me to paraphrase. Do you see a know-it-all? A fool is better off than that person. We are all guilty of being foolish. After all, we live in fool's paradise. He chuckled. As many of you know, our city was founded by fools looking for gold, but finding instead iron pyrite, also known as fool's gold. It is only by God that we can have wisdom, but those who claim to have wisdom are only deceiving themselves. As Zeke turned to Star, her eyes were glazed over, as if she was a million miles away. He frowned. I upset her that much? His heart tore in two. He tried to listen to Pastor Trent, but everything that was said fell to the ground before it reached him in the back row. When the service concluded, he squeezed her hand. Let's go. Zeke drove to Hank's and cut the ignition. You've been unusually quiet. Is everything okay? His stomach nodded. Is it Rachel? Or did something bad happen at her job? This can't just be about the date, can it? Esther sighed. Yesterday, he grimaced. I know, I blew it, but this will be great. Come on. As they entered, she walked to the back corner of the restaurant and sat at a booth. 2 specials, Clarissa, she shouted at the waitress. Zeke blinked, not sure why she chose the seat farthest from the group of kids gathered near the front. Star? What's wrong? He sat across from her and leaned forward. I followed you. Her eyes stayed on the table. What? He sat back. To the children's hospital. I followed you. How long have you been doing that? She rubbed at a stain on the table. Zeke cocked his head to the side. Well, a long time, actually. A few months after my mom died. I decided I could bring some happiness to kids, but didn't really want to hang around the hospital here. That, and there's an art school there that's open on Saturdays. He put his hand under her chin and made her look up at him. Is there something else? Why didn't you tell me? Anger flared in her eyes. That's why you're not available on Saturdays? I thought... He chuckled. Her face darkened to shade. What's so funny? You're about to add another lobster moment if you keep this up. Your face. She stared at him a second, then giggled. The pair laughed, and just when they were about to stop, they noticed looks from the other patrons that sent them into new fits of laughter. Zeke coughed and forced himself to stop. I don't know why I didn't tell you. Maybe I felt like I would be bragging, or maybe I wanted there to be some small part of my life that was a secret. Or maybe I'm just the doofus. Oh, you're still a doofus, but I love you anyways. Esther's mouth opened and she blinked. I mean, we are friends and I've always loved you. Zeke's heart tightened at her words. I love you too, Star. He managed to keep his smile. Always have, always will. He picked up his soda. Let's eat. The meal wasn't the same as the one at the fancy restaurant, but it was like old times. She talked and he listened. He embarrassed her and she scolded him, but smiled while doing it. Everything was perfect, but more important, he hadn't lost Star. Who cared if he ever got another date in his life as long as she was around? But she wouldn't always be around, would she? College, marriage, kids. She'll outgrow me. The amber glow of the setting sun's failing rays reflected off the body of the Dodge. He opened the door for her. She lingered, lifting her gaze to meet his. Thank you. I know this hasn't been easy. A soft exhale passed through her lovely pink lips. Zeke was drawn into the 2 emerald pools that stared at him, falling deeper until his lips met hers. Gentle hands encompassed his waist while he held the back of her neck. The kiss shouldn't end. It needed to last. It needed to be real. Time, space, the world, all faded. All that existed was his bright and shining star, his best friend, the girl he would do anything for, his love. Whoa, go for second base, Zeke! A rowdy boy called out. Others rooted, shattering the magic of the moment into a million pieces. Esther pulled from the kiss, her face red. Zeke balled his hands into fists. Those... Her arm hooked with his. Ignore them. Let's go. He softened at the girl who held his heart and replied with a soft nod. She climbed into the cab and buckled up. He didn't recall closing the door or getting into the driver's seat and departing. He only had the vaguest recollection of driving somewhere and parking. I'll see you at school tomorrow. Her voice was distant. Her eyes had an unfocused look on to them. Zeke wanted to grab her and apologize. He didn't think what he did was wrong, but it felt as if he had hurt her. Star? Words were as elusive as mist. Esther shook her head. We'll talk tomorrow. She gave a ghost of a smile and slid from the truck, vanishing far too quickly inside her house. He stared after her, a prince losing his Cinderella. And there was no glass slipper that made it simple again. By this one action he knew the truth, but that truth terrified him. Nothing will ever be the same again. And that was chapter 7. So a little bit shorter of a chapter, but you know, they all range in size. And I hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned to see the next chapter, or listen to the next chapter, depending on how you watch YouTube. And I look forward to seeing comments and responses of what people think. Bye.